Welcome to episode 6 of King of Catan. My name is Treeckosaurus and I am joined by DylLighted for part 2 of this series. If you want to know more about the initial settlement placements and how we've come to this board state, part 1 is in the description.
So it's Gray's turn. He has 11 cards, and he just 2 6s rolled, so he has 4 wheat in hand. Let's see what he does with this card. So he has 1 road in hand, and he builds to the wheat port.
Yeah, so what
Okay.
is a possibility here, but it's very costly to trade in like 4 to 1 to get the stuff he wants for that settlement, because the settlement is like really key to him. We discussed in the other part that the lumber port with the 6 ore is probably better to go than to go for this wheat port with the 3 brick. But he is going for the wheat port, so he's trying to go, like, he's offering trades for lumber or brick, but they don't go down. Djinn is still considering it, but I know there's always table talk going on every single trade he's offering, and because Gray won last game, he isn't in that good of negotiation spots. He decides to hand in 8 resources, and boom, I hit a 7.
There was an article done on a website called, like, I think it was like strategy, like Settlers strategy or whatever. I'll send the link.
Yeah, we'll link it in the description.
But basically, there's an article done on for strategy, and it was padding your hand. So what does that exactly mean, padding your hand? It's to avoid situations exactly like that. If this guy just did 4, like, since you saw Gray just did 2 4-for-1s for rare resources, right? Instead of doing just 2 4-for-1s, you just want to do 1 4-for-1. And the reason why you want to just do only 1 4-for-1 is because so you don't get your rare resources plucked like that. You want to keep 1 4-for-1 inside your hands as padding. So, like, there's a lot less of a low odds that your rare resource will be taken away.
Yeah, because in this situation, you would have the situation that you would have either 4 ore or 4 wheat left. I assume it would be ore. Well, actually, no, that could be either. The point of it is you have a 67% chance of not getting an important resource stolen if you just keep 6 cards. With 6 cards, you shouldn't fear the robber too much, and actually
Yes.
In this exact situation you get punished so badly for it, and that might that, like we were discussing in the chat, and I don't know if that was table talk by you or it was actually because you were pointing out that Gray is in a great position at this moment in time. So we were actually looking to rob him a lot.
Yeah. And especially since, like, by taking his card, like, you just took like 4 ore from it, or 4 wheat. You just took 4 cards from it, and that's like a massive like loss from Gray. And I think he could have easily avoided that just by doing 1 4-for-1 and just holding. And I think Gray didn't try trading hard enough that last turn. I think he could have potentially tried to trade a lot harder. But yeah, since doing 2 4-for-1s for and then not doing anything for it just feels really, really bad.
Like a 10 roll, so that's massive for Djinn for sure, because he picks up a brick and an ore, and that ore is like you said before, really key to him.
Yep. And he still doesn't have a city up, and he needs to upgrade to a city.
Yeah, not a
but
10 roll.
Yeah, another 10 roll, so that's really key for him. And so I also we're also sort of like think like, oh, I think it's also fine for him to buy dev cards, since at this point I have 2 victory points, so I'm like, okay, I'm really behind in the dev card race. And if Blue can, like, magically win the dev card race against Gray, that's fine for me, since eventually I'm gonna be up there trying to, like, win. But I also need to try to upgrade a city first, since I'm so behind in production right now. Comparing myself to the 2 other players, Gray and Purple, I'm very, very behind. So I think my next goal is to probably upgrade to a city, or maybe perhaps buy more dev cards.
Yeah, I think buying a city makes sense. I would still like this 956 is a killer spot, but upgrading on the 810 is not bad either. And I do like the 956, but because even if one of your wheats is blocked, you still have, like, at worst case scenario 9-5 in terms of resource gain, which is still as good as a 8-10. And also because if you upgrade at your 965, you have a better chance of keeping your 8 open.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's a really good thought. Huh. Oh, I was still stuck. I should have thought harder about my upgrading decision between the 810 and the 569. Then I think some argument for upgrading the 810 is that you get 3 ores from a single 8, and then since you're on the 6 and 9, it's really easy to get a second city. And then if you get 2 cities up, that's when you can really play the dev card game really well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more thought over there.
Yeah, maybe there's also thought of do you actually want to keep the 8 open if you consider well, I don't know who you consider as your biggest threat to victory. That could be either me as purple or gray. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well. Do you want this 8 to be open?
Or yeah. I think another
do,
another thought that I had was since 569 and if I upgrade that, it's 14 points of production. I was thinking that since I have a 3-1 port, I can just keep porting for dev cards. Since like I have to, in my mind, I was thinking like I sort of have to get largest army to win. I have to, no matter what. That's like the only way I win. And at that point, I'm just like, all right, well, if I can just upgrade the more high producing one, then I can just keep 3-for-1ing for the dev card materials that I do need.
Okay, then.
So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if my decision was right, but for the upgrade. But we'll eventually see. We'll eventually see.
Yeah. So another 6 roll. And it's your turn. Is this the turn you get the settlement? I'm not sure how many ore you have at the moment. Okay, it is.
Okay, yeah. So I decided to upgrade the 569. I think I decided to do that because just like the 3-1 port, and I'm like because I just had I think I decided to do that because of the 3-1 port. I'm just like I can keep porting for army. And so at this point, like I see that no one wants to take an army, and like I really need largest army to win. So I'm like, it's fine. I can hold back on the city as long as I can keep buying dev cards for largest army, since I need that really badly.
Okay.
Now I'm not sure if that was the right decision though. Potentially upgrading the 810 was better.
Yeah, it's actually on the. Well, also you can't really tell what's gonna happen in the game, so you can't say who is gray thinking, who is the biggest threat to his victory. Is that either purple or is that? He has robbed blue before as well, so he might consider blue as a contender. And also with this 9 wheat picked up, is blue close to getting a city? And if and if he he trades 4-1 for a sheep and gets a development card.
Yes. So right here actually was really interesting is the fact that I'm table talking blue to go ahead and buy development cards, and the reason why I want this is because like you know like I see like he might be able to get largest army. And if you can prevent Gray from getting largest army, just holding on to largest army for a little bit before Gray wins the game, I think I'll be able to eventually overtake blue, which is what I want.
Yeah, for the same can be said for longest road. I didn't really mind blue holding the longest road. I think I have the resource gain to eventually overtake him.
Yeah.
So we try to use the dead player as you name it. As a holder of the stuff we need, so the other players can't take it.
Yeah. I was afraid of Gray like doing like a quick bum rush and like just like winning the game right here, or like winning the game really quickly with like knights. Which is why I wanted like blue to like, all right, like give us some buffer time, blue. Like you need to like buy some dev cards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So 3 rolled, which is massive for Gray, since he picks up his sheep, so he can get the development card. Actually uses sheep for settlement as well to go to the 2-for-1 port, which is, in my opinion, still massive.
Yeah, for sure. It's really important. Yeah.
Because there are still a lot of situations that you, like for example, if a 11 and a 6 roll sequentially, then you want to use that wheat port for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable why he went on this 6 wheat, but I think I personally would have went on the I think I personally would have on the wood
Um,
port instead.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also interesting how you got. So if DylLighted says wood and I say lumber, we mean the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, an interesting thing that I was thinking about when I was first playing inside of tournaments was changing my vocabulary to make me look more of a novice. So, like, so as like this,
Oh,
this feels really dirty though. But I was thinking about like like whenever people say like resources, like there's different people call them like all different type of resources. They call them ore, rocks, stone, or like I've seen like diamonds or like metal before.
yeah.
So I was thinking about like let's like what if I go into the tournament and just like completely change my vocabulary like something like stupid. So I'll call like wood trees. I'll call like brick like walls. I'll call like sheep cows and like I'll call like wheat grass. And then I call like stone like diamonds or metals or something like that. So just like and like whenever you go to the table and someone's like, all right guys, give me your cows. They're like, what the fuck? Like so like this guy's an idiot. And in theory, if this guy's an idiot, then you shouldn't go after him as much. But I don't think that works as well since if someone's like calling them cows, but like he's also playing really well, like you can clearly tell this guy's trying to con you. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
decided to scrap that idea, but it was like a food for thought, sort of.
Yeah, it's also a bit tricky to do it in nationals because they would know you have won a regional championship.
Yeah, like they already know like you like this guy won a regional, like be quiet.
Yeah. Okay, so trade is actually going down here with
Mhm.
between us. Oh,
Yeah.
we didn't trade much in these past games, which gave me a settlement. Why did you
I
this
mean, so like I gave you a settlement, and like on the 4-3, I'm like I don't think it's strong enough producing. I knew what I was giving. I was giving you a settlement, and I was getting a dev card from this trade. And I thought like, well, since I need to unblock myself as soon as possible, so that's why I'm like. And at this point, remember, I have 2 victory points. I don't have a single knight, so I need to unblock myself and start making sure that I can secure army myself. And I think
hmm,
that first steps goes with blocking gray. And I thought like, yes, I enable you to get a settlement, but without you gave me a wheat and an ore, and I didn't have any ore. Or so you gave me a sheep and ore, and I had a bunch of extra wheat in hand, but I didn't have any ore. So I was thinking like, all right, this gives me a settlement, or this gives him a settlement, but this gives me a dev card. And without it, then I potentially wouldn't be able to do anything.
okay.
So I
Was it
wanted to do something on my turn.
and something to mention is that if the 8 rolled, you would have the potential to build a city. Would that have
Yes,
been
yes.
better to build that potential city over getting a development card?
Tough choice to say again. Potentially no. I think it's if you just once you upgrade the 8 10, maybe you can just 100% focus on dev cards though, and I think that makes you really powerful. So, no, I think I just would have upgraded the 8 10 in that spot right there.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah, I
would
think I
have.
would have. Yeah, if I could upgrade, then I would just upgrade the 8 10 because like no matter what, no matter what, like you're gonna upgrade eventually, and no matter what, I get blocked everywhere. I still get blocked in the 5, 6, 9, and 8. So yeah, I think would have upgraded instead.
Yeah, would the decision have been difficult if you, for example, didn't have 2 victory points in hand, but had like a victory point and a monopoly?
Yeah, I'd still upgrade. Yeah, like why not upgrade still?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think for your first 2 upgrades, you usually wanna do your first 2 upgrades, and then you can start buying devs from there. But I mean, there's so many exceptions to that. There's so many exceptions to that. Like the neonates rule of one behind upgrade to city, one ahead buy dev cards. I think like that's a big generalization, but I mean like that's not a bad rule to follow, but it's still a very big generalization. I think there's a lot of situations where you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I saw a video from you last, and I also made a comment on that. Mentioned that you, in a spot, you didn't buy development cards because you were unstoppable, like you said. So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though you get blocked, the rest of the game it didn't matter. You would win anyways. So maybe that's an
yeah.
exception to the rule. And what I've noticed is that actually every rule except maybe the golden rule for trading has an exception.
Yeah. Well, I think all rules have exceptions for sure. Like even if this trade helps the other person, more than it helps you, then I guess I still sometimes think that you should still take it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's always exceptions. There's always exceptions. Yeah.
Like for example, the other builds a city and you get like a lousy settlement spot.
Yeah,
Um,
or like a road, at nationals, at the U.S. national final table, there's a trade where someone got a road and someone else got a city. It's like, what kind of trade is that? That shouldn't be happening at nationals. Like, come on, man. And it was at the final table too, so it's disappointing, but whatever.
okay, just something to get out of your mind.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that's like a ideal. That's a classic example of you get a road, the other guy gets a city. That's a classic example of a terrible trade.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you get the
Yeah,
development card.
and I just pass since I'm looking for the knight. I need to start buying dev cards. It's 12 years old. He has another sheep.
Yeah, he has two
And
cards in hand,
yeah,
so he can't really do anything. But 9 is way more impactful.
yeah. So another nine is rolled, and now he's two wood. And now Gray's starting to creep up on largest army, which is very concerning, especially when since he has 9 cards, or 11 cards, and I'm afraid that he might be able to start taking army.
Gray made a mistake by using the knight after his roll. Like he had 9 cards in his hand. So
Hmm.
at 7 I do it differently. Then I would roll first
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
to not have the 60% chance to lose 4 resources.
Hmm.
But in this case, I would have used the knight first.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why he did that. You're right. And also, I think I failed to table talk right here. He stole really quickly, but I should have said that like now like you got to take from him if you want their bricks. And since I know he just since he rolled first and he played his knight, so I should have like table talked and said like, oh, like you know where to get free bricks, right? It's from purple.
Yeah,
So I failed. I failed. So I missed that table talk rhetoric right there. And yeah, I got stolen from as a consequence, which is bad. Uh, yeah.
yeah. But the thing is that we actually tried to get the audio in it as well, but it would make it a little bit too technical for us. Uh, but the thing is about this game, like DylLighted was talking throughout the whole game, and I tried to counter talk like what you're trying to do. So so that was actually a really interesting dynamic. And Blue was a lot the victim of it a lot, and Gray as well in this game because he got blocked well by mainly
Yeah.
everyone. Like there could have
Yeah, yeah.
been.
Well, I think we had to like there's a moment where we almost had to block Gray. So the reason why I was table talking like everything out to Gray so much was because like first of all like he truthfully is in like a very 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 strong position.
Mhm.
But like not only that, Gray is just he's my win condition competitor. We're both racing for army. So if I can get everyone just to target my own win condition competitor for me, that's great. Like like I want everyone to go after my win condition competitor, so it'll make me easier when for my win condition of getting largest army. So yeah, I naturally want people to go after him. So like I also like try to follow up by example, say like, all right, I gotta block the guy who's leading, right? And that's why I play my knight and just table talk, table talk.
Yeah,
Like
and
I know you're scary, but I need to win myself, and that involves taking down my win condition competitor. But yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
and also the thing, if people will start blocking me, it will be at 8, and it that will be impactful for me, but maybe even more for you. So I think that's also a reason to why you should
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
take Gray on as your
yeah.
blocking target.
Since we there's a lot of like spots to block Gray. There's a 6 and a 9, but yeah, and if anyone's gonna block you, they're always gonna block the 8. But yeah, I suffer from the problem of being blocked like literally everywhere. So this is gonna be a tough game for me to win.
Hmm. So we're going to have a look. It's actually your turn at the moment.
Yeah, yeah,
You just used. Well, you probably used a knight. Yeah, you
yeah.
did.
I just use a knight.
Yeah, yeah.
I use a knight, and I rolled.
So what are you looking for? You're looking for.
I
You
think I
were
was trying
offering
to.
ore, and
Yeah, I think I was trying to help. Right here, I think there's a trading sequence between me and Blue. So I thought so. Blue, I knew didn't have a dev card, and or didn't have a knight, so he wasn't gonna lock it. And I was afraid that Gray did have a dev card, and or like Gray might have had the last knight to lock army, and I thought that was like a really really bad situation since I'd much rather have Blue lock army. So I was considering giving Blue like the ore to buy dev card. But this is like a not super good thought. And the reason why it's not a good thought is because like blue has to buy the dev card in his turn, and by that time, gray can already gray can already buy gray can already play his knight to lock army. So I was playing with the thought of like trying to let him get it, but then I'm like, nah, that doesn't make sense. So I just buy a dev card myself.
No knight, but well, it could still be a knight, but the 7 was rolled, so
Yeah, yeah. But I think but while table talking blue, I just sort of his like I guess not body language, but his I could tell by his tone of voice and what the things he was saying indicated to me that he didn't have a knight.
okay, that's really interesting because I actually thought he did have a knight, but
Oh
maybe.
wow. Oh, I think he said something like drat right when you
Oh,
played
that
it.
was a road building. Okay, then it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
slightly later in the game.
Hmm, hmm.
Okay, he reacted to the development card he got. So what I noticed from that point on is that okay, if I want to cut off blue, I can actually go to the 11-4 and build a settlement there.
Yes. That's a really interesting thought. Yeah. You just chop his reds in half.
Yeah, because if if he builds roads, he probably tries to expand towards the 4
Hmm.
and the
And
8.
eventually connect. Eventually connect. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we will see that later in the game if that happens or not. So another development card by Gray, which is really important for you since
Yeah,
you're
that's really
raising.
bad for me. That's really really bad for me.
Yeah.
Since but it also lets me know that oh wait, Gray didn't play a knight that turn, but so yeah, and because Gray didn't play the knight, I mean that's I know his first development card's not a knight, and he totally would have played it and taken army,
Yeah.
assuming he's a competent player. So I just roll a 7, and I think I almost have to block Gray. It doesn't make sense to block him anywhere else. I just take from Gray and pass. Another 7 is rolled, and once again I really try and table talk like you got to steal from Gray. And I'm fine with getting my own wheat blocked. I just need Gray to to slow down since he has a coin into cities and those are deadly. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, blue goes ahead and buys another development card, which is good for me, which is really, really good for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, blue, I need you to lock army. I was celebrating this. I was celebrating this. I
Okay.
think the
And
more
what was like he got used the year of plenty on getting the resources for a development card. Do you agree with that line? Because in my opinion, you should use the year of plenty, especially in his case, if he lacks ore and he still needs to build the city on 8-5-10. I think you should use it for building a city and
probably,
instead of
probably.
locking the biggest army.
I think one of interesting thought is one of blue's win conditions is potentially just it's potentially just saying screw it and just going for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going for both, since he has such like bad like production that he needs to like close the game early. So I think something else he could have done was just like try to lock army and then try to get a VP. And if he locks army right here, then he puts himself at 7 points. He gets a VP that puts him at 8 points, and he has to build 2 settlements, and he already has 2 settlement spots. So I think that's like that's like his literally his only out right there. It was getting yeah, I think that's the only way blue can win by locking army actually.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe yeah. So actually, it feels weird, but maybe that's the right play right there. But I think there's also a very 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 good chance Gray takes army this next turn too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So but yeah, I think the traditional play is just upgrade to cities. But like I think the reason why like I'm not sure if upgrading the city right here is worth it is because you're just too behind. Like I don't know how else blue can win. So yeah, Gray doesn't play a development card, which is like 30 red flags right there. I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like, does he have two VPs, two monos? And yeah, so I was getting very very scared of this.
Yeah. What's also a possibility is that he considered you to have well a knight or maybe more. You know that you well that could have been a knight you picked up. So maybe he decided, okay, I don't need to remove this because DylLighted will use a knight and
I think that's not a bad thought. I've thought of that before, but the issue with that, like if he doesn't take army now, Blue's gonna take it, and then he needs like two more net. He needs two knights to beat that, and that's very expensive in his case. Because
Okay.
threes aren't rolled that often. If that was great, and if that was a knight, then I would like 100% play it.
Okay. So here's a trade offer, and you are
Yeah,
looking for ore.
yeah. I'm just trying to buy a dev card right here. That's since I got another victory point right here, and I'm just still looking for more. I'm still looking for more dev cards.
Hmm.
So
So
an
that,
eight is rolled, and that's really important for me.
yeah, and for me as well. So
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah, so you just block army, and that's like I'm like really happy about this. Like yeah, so I keep emphasizing you have to take from Gray since Gray true like honestly Gray is like in a if people didn't take from Gray, I think Gray had a very good chance of winning.
yeah, especially at that point in the game where he had more,
Yeah, there's two
like
cities
yeah,
like yeah.
but he kind of made it
And interesting.
difficult
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
himself by accepting the trade with me.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
so he put me back in the game, and then
yeah,
you
it
started
helps you
going as
so
well.
much. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Like that trade just that makes his competition unnecessarily hard.
yeah. Okay. So
So
Jin
he's
is
looking
looking
for
for
sheep.
sheep. Yeah, and I'm trying to get the city, of course. I didn't have much faith in this trade going down.
Yeah, I don't think he has it. Green ore.
Yeah, probably not. He might have a sheep of a wheat, but he probably is looking to use that as a settlement.
Yeah. I think so too. Probably at least.
So a
So
four
forge
roll.
roll, that's super good for you.
Yeah.
You get so many cards. I think this is where like not having a 3/1 point really hurts.
Yeah, especially, and as I think even more because I'm dependent on the four for the wheat. Like
Hmm.
if the four rolls great and fantastic, then I probably win the game. But if it doesn't happen, then
Yeah, you just sort of screwed too.
yeah, and I'll be locked with a bunch of resources in my hand all the time while I'm trying to build cities.
Yeah. And Gray goes ahead and builds a road bedding, and that's very important. It's like very big, I guess, for me. It's like really nice. Because that means that means he doesn't like have a knight, which is good. Also, I'm not sure if I agree with Gray's red that much. Like, I mean, yeah, I think the question you have to ask yourself is like, Gray, where are you going?
Yeah, I would go to the lumber port
Yeah, for
for
sure.
sure,
I would do that too.
but I can't see the screen right now, so I'll comment on that in a few minutes.
Yeah,
First, look at this trade. So I'm trying to get double lumber, which Jin actually offered me for less the last game,
yeah,
so I could trade 4 to 1 for ore and get that city. I don't know if I also offer an even bigger trade than this, but I,
yeah. No, yeah. Right here, I think I was table talking and trying to say like you don't want to trade with him since he's gonna do like big plays. And then like I was or no yeah I eventually figured out that you're trying to do city since I realized like eight rolled he has two ore and he's trying to do a 4 for 1 since a four hit. That's why he wanted two wood. And I was trying to like let the Djinn know like blue like if you trade your trade has consequences and your consequence is him getting a city. So I was
yeah,
trying to like emphasize it like do you want him to get a city with this trade? Does this even help you? And the reason, and like it doesn't even make sense for blue to trade since if he does trade, it just puts him over the hand limit. It's not even good. So yeah, I think buying a dev card here is a fine play for you.
okay, yeah. I pulled the trigger on that because I got 2 ore from the 8.
Yeah. I thought that was smart not buying another one. I think that's fine. So a big turn by me. I think so right here I actually have a city in hand, and I either can buy dev cards. I think I have a city in hand. I'm pretty confident I have a city in hand. Since I have four ore and I'm not sure if I have enough wheats though for a city. But I think I do go ahead and yeah. I decided to actually buy dev cards over the city. Yeah, so I had the city, but I decided to buy dev cards over the city. And so yeah, like, this is like I think in my opinion one of the exceptions. Well, according to Neon State's rule, like I'm behind, I should upgrade to the city, right? But no, I don't think that's right. The longer I hold and don't get a city, or like sorry, the longer like a stall and don't buy dev cards, the farther away that you guys that gray and blue are gonna like the farther away my win condition becomes.
Yeah,
So I was like,
which is
so
the
I told
which is the biggest army.
yeah, and like what every night that they play, it's like I have to wait more turns to buy knights and wait more turns to buy dev cards. Like yeah, it's really it puts a lot of pressure on it. It makes me really fall behind a lot farther since I need to win. I need to win. So that's I think one of the exceptions where you don't upgrade to the city since I need to win. I need to get largest army as soon as possible. So that's what the thought was right there. Also, interesting turn is like or interesting thing is like I didn't play at night at all. And I think or I didn't play any dev cards at all, and that's a very big red flag right there. When I don't play any dev cards when it's on me on my six, and I think I definitely should. But no one said anything about that. I was like, okay, sure, that's great since these guys aren't recognizing that
Yeah,
I unplay dev cards. They're not victory points. It
I
just helps me fly under the radar so much.
yeah, I agree. The thing I didn't mention it, or maybe we did mention it, but it came true. Like you said before, okay, it's more important for me to block Gray on his weed
Hmm.
than to actually like have double weed available for me. And I
Yeah.
think that might have been the reason why nobody commented on it, or especially because you mentioned it earlier in the game, like you're not in an attack and trying to make an argument.
Yeah.
But
So like yeah, it's like I'm fine with my 6 wheat being blocked since it's still the 9 open.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like like I don't need to play a knight. But in this case, like if I did have a knight, no, the right place to still play it. I need to get closer to my win condition. I
yeah,
need to win. I need to win like that. So yeah, blue goes ahead and buys another development card. And I actually sort of think blue's like sort of dangerous right here. And I straight up asked blue, "Did you get a victory point?" And he says no, which I believe. But like it's blue did get a victory point. He's at 8 points. He just needs two settlements to win. And like I don't. And the next few turns, like he's not gonna lose. He's not going to lose largest army or longest road. So I sort of think like, oh shoot, blue's actually getting really dangerous.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you agree with the road blue just built?
No, like just do loop road to the six wood. That just makes a lot more sense. Does yeah, I just do loop road to the 6 wood. Like or just build do triangle road to the 8 wood or to the 6 wood port and then do a road backwards so you can give yourself two settlement spots. But both of those are fine plays. I don't know why blue would do what he did. Like it doesn't really help him that much.
Okay. So I'm trying to trying to look for what Djinn is going to offer for the sheep, since it's still a really rare resource for him.
Yeah.
Uh, but it didn't work out, and I still had a great play available with the settlement and the city.
Yeah, this is an amazing like turn for you. There's just so much things are being done. So yeah. I also think you could still you still have the threat of the knight. Remember that if you did need to do anything with it. In this
Yeah,
case, you don't really need to do anything with it, but you still have the threat of the knight.
that's true.
You can still say like, listen, I need this trade. I'm gonna do that. And because you did that turn, so like I start recognizing like, okay, this is where I need to switch priorities, and I need to straight up stop you from winning the game. So I was sort of concerned that you didn't play a dev card right there. So I was like, wait, maybe that's not a knight. Maybe that's a victory point. He's at 8 points, and now all he needs to do is get road to win. So I just like, well, this is not looking like a super good situation. And since blue already has largest army, I'm fine with gray just taking it and stuff. Or I'm fine with letting gray just do whatever the hell he wants. And the thing is, I have so many I have so many like dev cards. Actually, I think I only had one knight, and 4 of those were VPs right there. So I was thinking like, it's fine. I don't really care if I'm sorry. I'm starting to not care about gray as much. I'm starting to care about you since you just got a city, and when the road players have cities, they're dangerous. They're so dangerous.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
yeah,
And I was very certain this was the correct play, but was a other settlement spot a consideration? Like, for example, the 4-9-11 with the
yeah.
wheat. Was that a consideration to build the city on instead of the 4-8-3?
Well, I think out of the 4-9-11 and 4-8-3, I think let me think about this. It's 6, 9, 9, 10. It's 2 sheep or it's that. I think I think if anything, you'd want to consider. It seems weird, but I'd want to actually consider the 3, 10, 11.
The 3, 10,
And so
11.
like
Okay.
so
Why?
so so this looks weird since it's the lowest producing spot, right?
I I
But
kind I kind of see why it would be the best spot because I need roads to win this. I need to
exactly,
get the
yes.
longest road, and I'll get my lumber. I already have a bunch of lumber in hand. I
Yeah.
could connect these roads if it then rolls with the city on it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's like weird upgrading the lowest producing spot, but I think it's like it's also those are all unblockable spots. Like you don't block the 3, you don't block the 11, and you don't really block the 10. Like I'd rather be blocking you other places, like the 4,
Yeah.
and and it's because of that, which is why I think maybe upgrading to 3, 10, 11 is actually the best play. Since you're if you look at your road ratio, it's an insanely unbalanced road ratio. You have 6 plus 10, 16, 16 plus 6, that's what, 22. That's in a yeah, 22,
To 3.
22 wood production to 3. So it's
Yeah.
like your hand is flooded with woods. So I might actually try to increase that and change it by upgrading to 3, 10, 11.
Yeah, and
And like
also
yeah, or go ahead.
yeah, if I had a 3-to-1 port, then
Hmm.
it would have
Yes,
made
yes.
sense for me
I
to
totally agree.
actually
Yes.
get more lumber for the 483 or even the 1193, but
Yeah.
then I think the 483 is slightly better.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, in this case, the 3810 was probably the correct pick.
Yeah, I totally agree when you say if you had the 3-1 port, then I'd always say the 3-4-8 is better because it's just, just more production. Just like it's it that the all that wood becomes flexible wood. You can start porting for it. But if you're stuck without a port, those just sort of clog your hand up and make you 7 out a lot, which is really annoying. So yeah, I agree with you right there.
You have 9 resources in hand, and I highlight on the screen that you have 4 development cards.
Yeah.
Um, so if we took the red flag seriously, we would know that you had 4 victory points in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite sure it was 4 at this point. So then you would actually be at 9 victory points.
Yeah, but I don't think people were paying attention to my just like people were just sort of forgetting about my dev cards. Like I think whenever someone buys a dev card, you have to quickly you try your best to identify as soon as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so like once you can identify like I think that one's a victory point, then like once they keep going, buy more dev cards. Okay, I think they have 2 victory points. I have 3. They have 4, and that's how you avoid situations where like people can just like swipe the game with a bunch of victory points. You have to identify them quickly. You have to like really identify them quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't agree with Gray's settlement spawn, the 2 sheep. I guess you want a 3-1 port badly, but just go on the 9 wood. That just makes more sense, I think. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, like you could have just done road settlement on the 9 wood and then just have another settlement spawn in the 6-2.
And especially
I
because the resources that you're lacking are most likely sheep, brick,
hmm.
and lumber, or cow, wall, and wood plants or something like that.
I think it was cow grass and like metal or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
whatever. It gets confusing. But as I was thinking about like maybe I should just completely change up my vocab.
Yeah. Should become the official King of Catan vocabulary.
I was like, yeah, I need some more cows, guys.
Yeah.
I played with a player and they were like a really really good player, but they like seriously called like sheep cows, and I was like, what? So I just straight up asked them one time like hey, like I know you're not like stupid, but like these aren't cows, right? And then they're like, yeah, I know, but my friends just all call them cows, and we just sort of got into the habit of doing that.
Oh,
But
that's
I still think
amazing.
it's pretty hilarious calling, I guess, sheep cows.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Back to the board a bit. We have an interesting turn for me, and I figured out well, that wasn't really difficult to figure out that at this point in time, nobody would make a trade with me, even if I offered like a 3-to-1 trade.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you have done in this situation with 5
What
lumber,
I've done in this
7 sheep,
situation.
and 2 ore.
You could make the decision just to buy 2 death cards, since they remember. Well, I do have a bunch of victory. Well. First of all, I think you have to recognize a lot of those aren't. A lot of those aren't knights. A lot of those are victory points. You have to recognize that first.
Yeah.
And I think you also have to recognize that there's only 3 knights. Like blue only has 3 knights, and you have 2 knights. So if you do buy 2 dev cards right here, no matter what, like I think every single dev card is pretty useful. And I think at the very end of the game, I also emphasize this: like no monopolies have been played, and how many dev cards have been played? Think about it. There's 2 road biddings been played. 1 year plenty has been played. How many knights are out there? There's 2, 3, 2, 2. That's 6, 9. There's 9 knights played, and there's no monopolies played. And how many victory points are out there? You have to think about that stuff. So I think you should think about how many like the odds of what the dev cards are there, and you could do like some crazy play with monos, since monos are out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually considering the fact that maybe it was a kind of a disbelief of you having 4 victory points in hand right now. I figured, okay, there's at least 2, so he's at 7, and maybe there's a third one, so he could be at 8. But actually, I didn't even consider that you would have 4 victory points in hand right now. So that was really interesting. But yeah, I from that reasoning,
So you just thought I was just like, this guy's just gonna lock up army?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to lock up army. I decided that really quickly. Actually, from the moment you built on like only wheat, sheep, and ore, I was like, okay, he's gonna get army. I shouldn't focus on it. I should just focus on the road.
Yeah. That's not a bad thought at all. That's a good train of thought.
Yeah, but maybe this was an exception for that rule as well.
Potentially, I just think that I just think there's a lot of opportunity when you buy dev cards, I guess. Like, well, I mean, what else can you do with these cards? I guess you can do 4 for 1 for a wood, or 4 for 1 for a brick, or you can you get a city right here? You can't even get a city. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, your hand's sort of stuck. I think right here I might just buy 2 dev cards and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Or you can try and connect. No, you can't even connect. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a really awkward hand. Like I mentioned during the table talk, that I would have loved to have this 3-1 port. That would make my hand actually really good.
Make your hand so much easier. That make everything so much easier.
Then I think I would have been able to get 1 road and a settlement. Okay, that doesn't really open up possibilities. Well, I could go to the 9, 10, 2.
Yeah, 9, 10, 2. That's also a very good spot for you.
Yeah. But in reality, that wasn't possible.
Yeah. So it's a really awkward hand for sure. It's a really awkward hand. But I think well, when I say buy 2 dev cards, I think you should buy 1 dev card and see what it is. And depending on what the dev card is, it might change your decision. So something I see like that's a mistake in live play like all the time is the fact that whenever people they hand inside the bank 2 ore, 2 sheep, 2 wheat. That's wrong. You don't do that. You hand in 1 ore, 1 wheat, 1 sheep for a dev card instead. And then based off of what that card, you make a decision. Do I want to buy a second development card?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Like you want to you want to just test it out to see what it is one at a time.
Okay. So the play with that I went with is trade in 4 sheep for a brick and get a road.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like,
it's not a bad play.
Yeah, if the 4 rolls, I have a pretty good chance of taking this game. Like, then I would need road plus settlement, and I would build the settlement on the 11-4 to cut off blue's longest road, and with connecting that. So that was like the plan for winning it in a time. And so we're gonna have a look at the statistics a little bit. So I was so surprised because I didn't keep in mind that you had the possibility of having 4 development cards, of 4 victory points. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, what? He says GG? How? He has four victory points? Holy cow. Or
Yeah,
holy
yeah. I
sheep, I
got pretty
mean.
lucky. Like I got pretty lucky like that. I
Um,
think,
I
yeah,
don't
you have
even know
to.
if it is lucky. If you just got 2 victory points tonight, you would have gotten the same
Yeah,
amount and you would have been able to, well, get control over the robber and make it difficult
yeah,
for
yeah.
me. So,
Because see how many development cards left. I think there are six left in total. There are not that many development cards left. Since when you see so many dev when you see like there's only six dev cards left, or like when you realize that there's been a lot of dev cards played, you have to start thinking like, well, wait, shoot, who has the knights? Yeah, see, there's remaining six development cards right there.
yeah.
Like there are who has the victory points? Who has them all? And in this case, like, oh, I had all the victory points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought there's at least one Monopoly played. Or well, sorry. And another bigger red flag for like why that I might have the victory points is like no one's played a single Monopoly. Those hidden dev cards, where a lot of them have to be knights, or a lot of them have to be victory points, since no Monopolies have been played. So yeah,
Yeah, also, not really related to this game, but how does that work with there are 73 rounds played and the total number of dice rolls is 74? Shouldn't that be the equal,
I think rounds is
like when a round ends? Like, does that count?
it's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, I
okay.
guess maybe it ended on. Well, since I didn't end my turn, I rolled the dice and I won, so it doesn't count as a round since I won.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
doesn't count as a completed round potentially.
Okay, in my opinion, the round starts when the dice is rolled, but
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's a small tidbit, but yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Okay, so if we look at this die statistics, we see that the 5 hasn't been rolled that much.
And the sixes, the coordinated sixes. Wow, six rolled 12 times,
Yeah,
and who's on all the sixes? Gray. The
yeah.
coordinated sixes killed again.
But we kind of dismantled that by blocking him for
Yeah,
the
yeah. Well, we
big
had to.
part
We
of
had
the.
to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Um, and the 4 rolled as well a lot, which gave me a great spot for taking
Hmm.
back the resources I lost with the 7 rolls.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still had a chance to, because these 7 rolls made it really difficult for me because I had cities in hand at least
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the time.
You got summoned out multiple times. You
Yeah.
got summoned out. Yeah, you got summoned out like twice at the very beginning, and when you're trying to hold for the city, and that really hurt you.
Hmm. So yeah, that kind of still gave me a chance to win the game.
Mhm.
There's not that much more I get from this. Like the tree has been rolled 2 times.
Yeah, that didn't help out very. That severely hurt Gray, since
Yeah,
remember he was doubled up on the threes, and he needed the sheep to play the dev card game, and since they just didn't come up, it crippled him really badly.
yeah,
And remember he was on the 9 wood, and that always hit. But like all those woods became dead cards without the break to activate it to use it. So like the two threes didn't help out very much. But I
yeah,
mean, like, threes aren't rolled very often in general, so just out of the it's just sort of normal.
yeah. I agree. Like doubling up on 6s or the 8 or the 9 or the 5 isn't as bad in my opinion. But doubling up on the 3 or the 11 or even the 4 and the 10 makes you really dependent on that number to be rolled, and also at does it roll at the moment you want it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. It rolls inconsistently.
Yeah, yeah. That's
All right.
there's a word for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Uh,
Yes. So that was a fun game for sure.
yeah.
What do you think you could have done better in that game?
Like a few things we mentioned. For example, the city on the brick spot was the I don't really care if I make a mistake like that, or maybe I could have done something
Mhm.
better. But the fact that I didn't consider other spots that much, or especially not that spot, um, over the 843 that I picked, is something that I can improve my game on.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and also the activity in how you table talk is something I can I should implement in my game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not really used to table talking since my family doesn't want to play with me anymore. But yeah. Uh, so I
If I
gotta pick that up again. What did you want to
yeah,
say?
if I could repick my settlement spots, I'd like to. I think I was looking at the board, but I actually don't think the 5-6-9 is the right play, even though I won. I think I think there's usually too high of a chance that I get locked out of both spots, and like I get locked out of like both my ports and just have two settlement spots. I have to play a game where I try to get fish for 4 victory points for me to win, and I think that takes way too long for me to try to win. So I think actually the 6-9-3 is actually a better play, but since there's just so many more options that go with the 6-9-3, so yeah, I think that is actually the better play
Yeah,
instead of
if
even
I were
five six
you, I
nine.
would have gone for the 10-9-5, despite it leaving giving not enough ore.
Hmm. But potentially, I wish we could play out the board multiple times to figure out what really is the best spot.
Yeah,
This is an interesting board for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think one of the most important lessons that I always want to emphasize is uh, use the golden rule of trading. Does this trade help you more, or does it help your opponent more? And if you can follow that trade, if you can follow that rule, it will help your trading game a lot more.
Yeah, and also
What would you?
yeah, and also a lesson that I know the lesson, but I didn't use that to my advantage in this game, like keeping track of the potential outs for development cards. And not being blinded by the fact, because this is a rare circumstance, but you often gotta keep track of the rare circumstances as well. I think that will help you win more games.
Yeah, for sure.
So I could have done that a lot better. So, and that would have actually helped me in the table talk by recognizing that, well, at a certain point in the table talk, I did point out that you were the biggest threat on the board. But maybe I could have done that a bit sooner. I could have picked up the red flags sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could have easily table talked my position pretty well. With the reason being is because I was on the 5-6-9 and the 8-10. At the very beginning of the game, I was saying, like, guys, I can't win. I'm going to lose both of my races. I can't win. I'm going to be stuck getting armied, and, I'm not going to get enough victory points to win. And yes, that is true. But I won the race, and I'm like, oh, well, now I'm in a great spot now. So, like, no one said anything about that. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine with me. But like, the thing with this, like, because like once I get my settlement spot, that's amazing. That's so amazing. Like that helps me out so much more. And I was surprised no one really made a comment on that. So I was really happy about that.
Yeah. Are there ways to make sure other players won't table talk about what happens in the game so they don't affect your decisions, or is it just when the table talk happens you try to make a reaction to it?
I mean, you can probably tell, but like I'm more of an aggressive table talker, and I table talk majority of the time, so I'm on the offensive, and that just naturally just deflects all the attention away from me. So, yeah.
Okay.
And since a lot of times the table is just silent, and I'm like, okay, if everyone's silent, then I'll be the guy who's not silent, and I can just fill the silence, just like, yo, what you doing? Break your city. You got to steal from him. And then people do that, like, oh, that's smart. I'll break a city.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That's
they
really
don't take from me. So yeah.
Because you weren't really, well, people are always keeping an eye on you, but you weren't really targeted throughout the game. So yeah, that's something. That's a big lesson like everyone can take from this game.
Yeah. Just use table talk. I think that's it's just a classic lesson. Just use table talk. It helps you win games.
Yeah.
Like if you look at how many times I was robbed, well, I don't think you can, but like I was robbed like not that many times during this game. Like maybe 5 times max. But like I was not robbed much at all. Like 3 or 4 times, I think.
Yeah, I was.
So yeah.
I was robbed like 4 times, and Gray got robbed. Well, maybe even 10 times.
Yeah, he got robbed a lot, but like it was for a good reason since he's 12 sixes hit, like and I think Gray could have won if he didn't make some critical mistakes like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I would like to thank you for making this commentary happen.
Of course.
With me, I learned a lot from it, and it also provides a different type of video ID, and I Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And I hope the viewers learned something from it as well.
of
I
course.
sure did. And I would like to thank you for watching. And I want you to remember, always keep the cows.
All right, of course.
Thank you for watching.